Welcome to Forsatii podcast, where we reflect on the experience of emerging entrepreneurs in the MENA region. Today, we have a resilient young entrepreneur who never gives up on opportunities and manages to overcome setbacks. Allow me to welcome INJAZ UAE's passionate alumna Maryam Al-Ansari, who won INJAZ UAE's 15th edition Company of the Year award, in addition to the CEO of the Year award. Maryam, please tell us more about yourself.
My name is Maryam Al-Ansari. I have a bachelor's degree in finance and accounting, as well as a diploma in entrepreneurship. I have been an entrepreneur for the past a year and a half almost, and have opened multiple startups, continued in them, closed in some, and I'm continuing right now at Ittifaq. That's a bit about me.
Thank you, Mariam, for sharing a glimpse about you. So, now could you share with us a pivotal moment that shaped your pathway as a young Emirati entrepreneur?
So the pivotal moment for me, I believe, was when I was part of the INJAZ competition last year with my other startup and I didn't win. That made me realize that winning and losing is part of the equation, but keep going is what differentiates me. It's not me winning an award or losing an award. It's what is me keep going on is what counts. I think that was a pivotal moment for me. That was a shift because as a student, all you're focused on grades sometimes, or like the results of things when you work really hard. And when you work really hard and you don't get the results and you're very disappointed, you a part of you doesn't want to continue working or doesn't want to continue trying. And so for me, I think that really helped because that kept me going even though I had lost. So I believe in the change in my mindset. That was a pivotal moment for me, and the change that I need to keep having this mindset being rewritten and reprogrammed, and that's what's gonna keep me being different. Not the awards or not the wins. It's me being an entrepreneur and my mindset.
Indeed, Mariam, changing our mindset is very important every once in a while, especially when we experience new things. Sometimes we experience losses, and that's what makes our mindset even grow further. So, my second question is, as we all know, the road to entrepreneurship is non-linear. Can you tell us where you derive your passion for entrepreneurship from?
Ever since I was a kid, I knew that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do business, but when I wanted to do business, I was like, where am I gonna get money from? So for me, the road was I work a 9 to 5, get that money, and then invest that in my business. And so that was always my mindset. And when I grew up, I did my diploma in entrepreneurship, and I fell in love more and more. Like I didn't know entrepreneurship was different than a business because a business is like being there for a longer time, but a startup or entrepreneurship is much more different. And so when I learned more about it, it really excited me more. So I think for me, the journey started when I got more awareness and exposure to the entrepreneurial world. That really fed my curiosity and made me really think like, okay, this is something that is interesting, something that not a lot of people can continue it because it's so hard, and I want to do things that are the hard way.
Well, it's true when they say sometimes skills are born with you, and I believe you were born with a sense of entrepreneurship. As we talk about your journey with INJAZ, can you walk me through this journey and tell me what was a high moment and a low moment for you, and how are you able to manage both?
The high moment was definitely winning CEO of the Year award. I did not think that I would be winning. I remember getting interviewed by the CEO of Mercer, and he exuded this aura of like SEO, and like he actually was someone that I really admired when I was speaking to him. That's kind of like the aura or like the authority, not the authority, I would say, but like the presence that he had was completely amazing. It was as if I'm sitting with someone who's very knowledgeable, who's very uh, wise, and who knows what he's doing. So that is something that I really felt like if he chose me to be a CEO, that was an honor, if I'm being honest, because that means that he saw that those qualities in me or the potential of those qualities in me. And so that was a high moment for me because as I said, it's all about the person I become from this journey, not how many wins or how many loses I get or how many trophies I win. It's about the mindset of Maryam as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a founder, as a team member, as a leader that counts. Because startups fail, some startups succeed, but if there's a person behind it that keeps going, I think that was something of a high moment for me, being recognized as someone who could lead a startup or could have a potential of being a CEO. Regarding a low moment, it's actually even related to that. So when I left that room, I knew. Part of me knew that I'm not gonna win. I really thought that I was not gonna win the CEO of the year because some of the answers that I replied, I was completely honest, and I thought maybe if I could have maybe buttered a few things up, I would have won. But that was a moment of lowness for me. Is like, I'm being honest, and if what if my honesty is not good enough, what if I had to butter things up? And that was a low moment, but we got the high after it, so I'm not really sad about it.
Well, I guess your poise during the interview, as I was there, I think your poise is very impressive, and the award of CEO of the Year was well deserved. Can you share a bit about your business idea that you pitched in during INJAZ UAE's youth competition, and what sets it apart from other competitors in the market?
Absolutely. So Ittifaq is in the legal tech space. We automate and simplify the legal research process by utilizing artificial intelligence. We have already built our prototype in less than 2 months to validate our idea. We're currently at the stage where we're getting proof of concepts from legal entities as well as government entities that are in the legal field to validate our solution. So the journey went for Ittifaq like we were in the process of validating our we were in the process of we built the prototype, but when Injaz came, we were like, you know what, we want to win, let's push for a bit more. So when we went into Injaz, we were like, we want to do a proof of concept or validating our problem. That pushed us, to be honest, to go and interview around 20 to 30 people who are in the legal field, law students and lawyers combined, where we showed our product to them and we said, please rate us. And I think that really led us to be, in terms of logically, say that our idea works and our idea has a field of people who need it. A lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of ideas, there is an element of feeling like, oh, we think or we feel that this is going to work and we're very enthusiastic about it. And then we lose the logical perspective of where is the proof, where is the data, where is the people who are actually going to use it saying that, yes, we will use it and we will pay for this. And so when we did that aspect, I do think that was a huge accomplishment for us when we validated the problem. And through our MVP, we validated the solution and we did more improvements on it. And so right now we're in this phase where we're getting proof of concepts from government entities and law firms, as well as doing the version 2 of our prototype before ideally deciding if we're going to launch with the version 2 or make more optimization on it.
Amazing. Best of luck with that. Hopefully, we'll see you one day as a CEO of a multi-million dollar company. So, speaking about validations and learning through the journey, what's the most unexpected lesson you've learned on your entrepreneurial journey, and how has it influenced your approach to business?
That a lot of people or a lot of experience that other entrepreneurs go through is not a necessity that the same thing will happen to you. However, it is something that you should take in mind. For example, if someone went through an experience and they're sharing it with you, does not mean that the same experience will happen to you. However, there is a huge possibility that it might. So you got to balance that out. And I did not know that because in the beginning, I thought if this experience happened with this person, that means the same experience will happen to me. If I were to launch an app, I'm definitely going to fail because this person launched an app and it failed. So for me, that was the concept. But after some time, I realized that what differentiates me from that person is that the team I have, the mentality I have, the timing of that app or the timing of that idea is different. So maybe having that logical or like that critical mindset where if someone shares their experience, obviously you accept it, but at the same time you see it from a perspective of if I were to do it or if my team were to do it or if maybe like the market is ready now, would it work? And sometimes the answer is yes, it might work. That was an surprising thing, that like it was a shift for me, to be honest. Like I felt like this is something, when I realized, now I started to see every idea, every concept, every experience, or every story that I hear with an element of it might have worked or it might not work, you know?
Well, indeed, we do learn from others' experience, but growth mindset is all about learning from others' experience and avoiding the mistakes that they did. Now, you said that sometimes or through the journey, you've learned unexpected lessons. And sometimes we have doubts, uncertainties. How do you reconnect to your purpose and vision for your business in moments of doubt and uncertainty?
Personally speaking, if I'm talking as a founder and a CEO, obviously there is a lot of doubts because this is my first time leading a team. I have led teams before, but it's not something that we had a vision for. It was more of we had a task, we wanted to do it. It was more managerial. Now that the position that I have is more leadership position, it requires me to have a vision. It requires me to have that enthusiasm to keep the teams enthusiastic, to keep the team be sustainable in their work and their work ethics and their excitement. And so for me, I think personally that does create a lot of pressure on me, but I try to keep it behind the closed door. I try to keep my emotions out of it. I try to find solutions for the problem. So, for example, if I'm feeling like, okay, maybe this is an issue regarding this team member that I cannot solve, rather than feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough as a leader, or focusing or investing my times on these thoughts that will not get me anywhere, I focus my thoughts on, okay, if I don't have the skills right now to do this, who has the skills that can help me get that or solve that issue for me? Where can I learn that skill from? So I go and try to learn either that skill or talk to people who could provide me with an insight that maybe I'm overlooking. The experience that I have, I try to cover it with advices from people who already have that experience. So for me, I think personally that what helps me is, and I would always advise people like who are on the entrepreneurial journey, because it's so emotionally challenging, to always try to keep your emotions in a door that you use when you need it. But most of the time, you try to keep your emotions aside, try to look at things from a logical perspective, try to find solutions rather than feeling sorry for yourself, or like trying to find reasons why you should not do, or, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that right now, but maybe you could do it if you had XYZ skills or XYZ resources to learn from. So I think that is something that I went through and I learned as a valuable lesson. In terms of the startup world, I learned that there is a process. If you follow that process, it's not a set in stone, but the process of having an idea, doing the market validation, doing the problem validation. These are the basics that every single entrepreneur should do. Why? Because most often I notice that people go into the market without validating their problem first. And the way they validate their problem is not through research. You should actually go and speak to your users. And you shouldn't speak to 4 or 5. You should go and speak to at least 20 people who are facing this problem and validate that, is this really a problem? Is this really a pain level? And be most very critical about it. Like, think of it from a perspective of not that you're trying to convince that your solution is acceptable or you should use our solution, but rather from a perspective of criticize us. Is this really a problem that you're facing? Try to really have that phase of, is this really a problem I want to solve? Is this really a problem that is big enough that I want to solve? I do think that this is something, as a startup owner, I do feel like this is something a lot of entrepreneurs miss. And this is what differentiated Ittifaq, I believe. Is we went and validated the problem. We realized that no, this is a huge problem. Then we validated our solution. The first version of our solution, by the way, was not right. When we thought that, okay, this is what they need, they were like, no, we don't need this. We were providing like a research paper to them with all of the answers, and they're like, no, we actually want a chatbot, so which is more optimized than this way. So they actually gave us how we can help them, rather than us putting in more money or manpower and time into deploying a research paper or a solution that they might not need. So I think that's what really stepped up the pace for Ittifaq, which was this process.
Well, indeed, communication is always important for us to actually find valid solution. Lastly, Maryam, if you could go back and give one piece of advice to Maryam few years back at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, what would this advice be?
My advice would be to not overthink stuff or overplan things. I used to do that a lot. Any idea, that entrepreneurial idea that I had, or a startup idea I had, I would so much go into the planning aspect of it that I would forget the implementation part. And when I mean the implementation part, doesn't mean that you have to make huge progresses. I just mean doing actions, moving in some direction, even if it's the wrong direction, just move. I do think that I would have been a different person if I had started at that point. Although I don't regret it because everything happens on its own time. But if I were to go back, I would just say, just start working, just start doing action, just start moving, you know? But if I hadn't had gone through that phase, I wouldn't be who I am right now. So it's an advice that she can take, but not necessarily implement, because I'm fine with everything that's happening, if that makes sense.
Well, indeed, Maryam, our journey of learning is a never ending journey. Thank you so much for giving us your time today and reflecting on your learning journey. I'm sure what have passed and what's yet to come is going to be amazing for someone as ambitious as you. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our podcast today. Don't forget to subscribe, to take advantage and listen to the journey of other aspiring entrepreneurs in our region. Stay tuned for more episodes from Forsatii Podcast.